In every competition, there are losers and there are winners. But then, all this depends on how you choose to look at it, how you choose to define success for you, and also how you choose to define failure. However, let's listen to some gems of wisdom from none other than Robert H. Schuller, the author of the book Success is Never Ending, Failure is Not Final. And that book is here. Throughout this video, I have picked just 5 of those gems of wisdom that will inform us, especially if you find yourself in a stiff competition, especially if you find yourself in a place whereby you are either going to be regarded as a failure or success. You are going to be put in the side of either the majority or minority, depending on a number of factors. Do you call yourself a failure, or will you call yourself a success? So that's a book. Now, if Robert was to tell us today, now what is success? What is success? And according to Robert, success is being able to look at yourself in the mirror and be proud of the person you have become. You did the best you could. So this means the best way to approach it is to have a definition of success according to you. And then after you have accomplished something or after you have gone through a series of something, then you look deep inside yourself. This is what it's talking about. You look yourself in the mirror and honestly ask yourself, are you proud of the person you have become after accomplishing what you had set out to do? And we can ask the second question, and Robert will answer. And the second question is this: then who should define success for us? Who is that person who is supposed to define success for us? And Robert has a very interesting reply. That success is becoming yourself at your very best. It's nothing to do with someone else. It's to do with you. How are you compared to what you could be? And this is where we need to underline. How are you compared to what you could be? Yes, maybe perhaps you were supposed to get 1,000 votes, if assuming that you are in a political contest and you just simply got 300. Then you need to ask yourself, based on the definition of success according to you, is this the best that you could have done? In fact, you might discover that you have surpassed your expectations, and that should give you some morale to soldier on in life. So define it for yourself. Then the third question that we can ask Robert is this: what is that one thing that matters most in any race, any competition, any quest, anything? You can name it. And as usual, Robert has a very, very interesting reply. And this is what most people lack, especially when it comes to a political competition. And this is what he's saying, that whether you are competing with someone and whether you are going to win or lose, whether other people are going to say that you won or you didn't win, there's one thing that will remain constant at the end of the day: your values. Did you sacrifice your values? Have you continued to hold intact your values? And that's what he says: to keep your values to me on target. Remember to live that when you are alive, you have pride behind you. And arriving means already you have achieved. You are the first in that competition. You have been declared a winner. You belong to the side of the majority. Where you say majority wins, fine, no problem. But do you leave some pride behind you? Where you are currently, with all the glory that you have garnered, do you have wrath around you? And when you look to the future, days ahead, do you see hope ahead? If you answer no to these three questions, then that success, that achievement is questionable. And this is where Robert ends by saying something very interesting, that if you have pride behind you, if you have wrath around you, and ahead you see hope, then that's the path that leads, the path of success that leads to heaven. And then this takes us to the fourth question that we are posing to Robert. And the question is this: then, is success just a smooth road? Either before you get the success you achieve, during the achievement period, and even after? Is this just a smooth path? And once again, Robert has a very interesting response to this. Listen to this. Do not kid yourself. Success without conflict is unrealistic. Along the journey, you still get some kind of tension. Every time you do anything noteworthy, somebody will find fault. And after all, you are not perfect. No project is without its negative aspects. You can expect to generate a new set of tensions every time you set a new goal. And there is something wrong with every good idea. Be prepared for conflict. This is the most interesting part. That although you have defined success for yourself, and you have said that this is what success means to me, although you have looked into the mirror and you have been proud of what you have achieved, although all these things are at your disposal, remember, there'll still be one or two or three or four people who will still say, no, something is wrong somewhere. And you know, as our human, with our human weakness, we tend to concentrate on that one, no. If you have perhaps, let's say, 98 yes and 2 no's, we are told that our human mind will tend to concentrate most on those 2 no's instead of celebrating joyfully with a lot of joy and enthusiasm to all those 98 yeses. So be prepared for conflict. Lastly but not least, we go to the fifth question we need to pose to Robert. And a very simple question. Robert, can you give us one piece of advice, especially to any person who becomes number one? Yes, because if it is in a political competition and you are competing for a certain position, that position can only be won by one person, can only be occupied by one person only. If it is in an exam, you become position one. So what next? Do you insult other people? Do you go stepping on other people's toes? Do you go saying that you are better than other people? That you have better brains than other people? That you are more blessed than other people? That you are the only person who thinks that you are the best strategizer? That you are the best person full of logistics? So what are you supposed to do when you become number one? Listen and listen attentively to the response Robert gives us. Of course, in this book, the person who wins the number one, this is what Robert starts by saying. The person who wins the number one spot will be surprised how quickly others will forget her success unless she keeps reminding them. Fame is fleeting. Fortunes can be dissipated overnight. And we add at that, but not without adding some comments to the last response by Robert, that if you become position one, people will celebrate. You see, and that's what we're seeing in the graduations. You know all this when people achieve something. But then it's just for that day, that week, and if you are lucky, that month. And people forget and go back to their businesses. So you're just left there. Unless you keep reminding them that you succeeded, and of course you are position one, they will forget. And how do you do it? By going back to where we started. Remember, we said success is never ending, failure is not final. So if you succeed today, remember that that success needs to breed another success. It's not the end. It can be dissipated overnight. Fortunes, anything can come, earthquakes, and you might find yourself back to square one. Success is never ending. Failure is never final. And of course, if you find yourself on the receiving end of lack of celebrations due to the fact that perhaps people are saying you failed, or perhaps you are telling yourself that you failed, just note that that is not final. There is still another day tomorrow to fight on. So my message today is this: whether you win, whether you lose, be it in a political contest or in academics, be humble. And just know that it's not that other people are so much full of bad luck. No. And that, just thank God. With that, I say thank you so much for watching and listening to me. This is Samuel Waragu Speeches, and this YouTube is dedicated for leaders and those people who are talent oriented.